My name is Vyncint Smith, wide receiver for the New York Jets, number 17. I just finished completing my third season, mostly riddled with a adductor injury. Had surgery in the preseason. Worked a lot to come back from it. A lot this season. I think I got about to 90% back to full strength. And yeah, played 2 seasons with the Jets. Played my first season with the Texans.
What did you see from Sam this season, and what was it like playing with him?
I agree. He's a quarterback. I think that has a lot of raw talent too, and he makes a couple of throws that you don't see from a lot of other quarterbacks either. He's a very cool, calm, and collected guy. I think he has a high ceiling. I think just someone needs to help him tap into it. But I mean, the touch on his ball is unseen. It just kind of like kisses your hand when it hits your hand. And he makes plays with his feet too. He's a little hard to sack, and I think he just needs help hitting that next level.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. How would you feel about maybe bringing in a guy like Allen Robinson or a Kenny Golladay next year to help out that wide receiver group?
I even say having Brashad and Jameson here, still with us having a young team, having those older guys helps. Especially a young guy like Mims, he wants to see someone who's played for a long time, learn from them. I even talked to Demarius a couple of times this season, like, hey, man, we got this young rookie. He needs to see a superstar and learn how superstars handle, being a rookie receiver. But I think that'll help him out a lot. And, just kind of growing a little bit and learning the nuances and just being a professional overall. But definitely have an older guy who's made a lot of plays. Like I said, I think it helps the rookies and the young guys like Mims the most.
How much do you think, having a guy like Joe Flacco in there has helped Sam Darnold to continue to learn the game and develop into that quarterback that we want to see him become?
It helped a lot. Joe Flacco, him and Sam are very different quarterbacks, and even practicing with them, Joe will make this throw first, and Sam will make a different throw first. But I think having that contrast really helps Sam out and help him to see the game in more of a veteran-like way. Joe's won Super Bowls. He's played for years now, and I think Joe is one of the best things that happened to Sam.
So how would you say you are right now with the recovering from your injury? Where are you at right now? Are you good to go? You 100%? You going to come out there and be that number one they need?
Right now, I think I'm about 90%,
If I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit right here. Who's faster, you or Brashad Perriman?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a tough one. We haven't had a chance to race this season, but I'm gonna go with me. Last year, if you were with me and Robbie, I'd have said me. If we were asked who was faster between Will and that's a question I don't think I could answer.
His team so far. How much have you talked to Joe, and can you talk a little bit about how he is as a guy and a general manager?
As a guy, he trusts his players that he brings in. They clearly have a direction with how they're trying to go on a roster, keeping it young, and like you said, they've accumulated a lot of good young talent. I think we continue on this direction, and they decide on who our head coach will really excel. And like I say, he has a lot of trust in this roster, and they've done a lot this past year to kind of put us in a great position to be successful for years to come.
Do you have any head coaching candidates? Because you guys are bringing in Robert Saleh today for a second interview. Do you have any guys that you specifically want to see come into as the next head coach, or is that kind of something that's not really up to you?
I mean, it's not up to me, but me being me, and you watch Chiefs offense and how they spread the ball around, and see Coach Bieniemy come in and be one of the candidates. It's exciting.
I mean, for sure. Did the culture really? I mean, I don't know how much you want to speak on it. Did the culture really change a whole lot? Because I saw Jamal Adams was really upset around the beginning of the year and was advocate on social media and everything like that. And then, of course, the trade to Seattle and things like that. Was turmoil there really that bad at that point, or was it just him?
I won't say it's just him. I think we had to find our identity as a whole team, as a whole roster. Even losing Jamal, he's a ball of energy and excitement. He kind of gets guys ready to go, and he brings that excitement himself. So, but we had to kind of create our new identity, find who we are as a team this season.
He's a legend. I mean, he's great. What's it like working with a legend like Hines Ward, specifically at the receiver group?
He demands the best out of you on everything. He was great at blocking. So whether it's catching the ball, whether it's blocking, whether it's running the right route at the right depth, don't be a half yard off. If you're a half yard off, even if you're 2 yards off, just to let you know he sees it. But he doesn't miss much anything. He's very sharp himself. He knows the plays, he knows the routes, he knows why we're trying to do plays. So they demand but nothing but the best out of us, whether we're a young receiver room or we have 10 veterans. They expect us to be some of the best in the game, and that's how they definitely coach us.
Of that, Jacob, I see you had something.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the biggest story I think this offseason with the Jets is going to be what they're going to do with that number 2 pick in the draft. Is there something specific? Would you like to see them maybe draft Justin Fields, or do you think, or a Penei Sewell, or do you think that it'll be more beneficial to the team to maybe trade the pick and load up on assets? What would you want to see the team do?
That's a tough one.
He's GM. You're GM today, Vince.
I'm GM today.
You're GM today.
GM for the day. That's it.
GM for the day.
It's hard to pass it with the number 2 pick to basically decide on whoever you want. But then again, you can get a later first round pick, a couple more seconds. So I think it's the choice if they want to pad up the roster a little bit more, or if they have that one guy in mind that'll really turn us over.
So I'm happy for him. And what was it like playing under Bill O'Brien?
He's a fiery guy. He pushes emotion into a lot, as a lot of people comment. But as a head coach, he's good. Offensive wise, our offense was pretty diverse, and you knew how to spread the ball around, especially when we were going. And we had a lot of personnel and a lot of stuff that we were well prepared for in games to help us succeed, especially with Deshaun as a QB.
Yeah, for sure.
I see the messages. JJ Watt's been really vocal, more than he's ever been, especially about the team out there in Texas. Do you think he hangs it up at the end of this year? There's a lot of questions. He might hang it up, or you think he possibly goes to a championship team that he thinks that might play in the championship?
I don't think he'll hang it up this year. I know he's a pretty determined guy, and I think he'll either give it another try here or go somewhere where they have a chance to win the big game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then on the flip side of that, I mean, this whole thing going on now with Deshaun and that whole situation with the Texans, you're hearing it too. Do you think he ends up requesting a trade from the Texans? Do you think he forces his way out? And I mean, I've heard everything. I mean, the one team that we've heard is Miami, and I do not want him in the division. I would like him to stay in the AFC South. Do you think that Deshaun does end up forcing his way out of Houston because of what's going on right now? Because they have done him dirty on some of these things.
And the cap situation is really what the problem is. It's the cap as well.
Right.
Yeah, I think I guess depending on how talks go with the front office and managers, I think that kind of decides. But he's a smart guy. He knows what's going on. I think eventually he'll do what's best for him. I don't think anybody on earth is upset with him doing what's best for him.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah. Could you if Jets fans are obviously not necessarily, I don't think we're as worried as a lot of people are, because we think that this team can turn around and get it done. What is your message to Jets fans who are worried about the future of this team?
I think it's don't worry, you're in good hands with Joe Douglas and the front office. They obviously have a direction we're going into, and I think next season will be a lot of upside. Whether we make it to the playoffs or not, we are in a tough division with the Bills and Miami and the Patriots, but I think we're going to be a real contender for years to come.
I completely agree.
I like how you mentioned the Patriots. Like, and the Patriots. So Tom Brady's not there anymore. Vincent, for the last thing, this is all about you. This part here. What is your message about Vyncint Smith in 2021 season? What do you want to tell everybody about you? What's going to happen next year?
I'm gonna be 100% ready to go, locked in, ready to make plays as I did my rookie and my sophomore season. I know I have a big upside, and I'm excited to put it on the field. It's going to be a big year.